Hello students, in this lecture we will talk about IAS2, that is the inventory. So first of all, let's have a discussion on the definition first. So first of all, what is inventory? As you know that there might be different kinds of inventory. For example, if there is a trading business, there is only finished goods. And if it is a manufacturing concern, the inventory might be comprises of raw material, WIP, as well as the finished goods. So what is the definition of inventories? Inventories are assets. We usually recognize inventory as a current asset. So inventories are assets which are held for sale in the ordinary course of business. Next, in the process of production for such sale or in the form of material or supplies to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of services. Next definition is of net realizable value. What is net realizable value? Now, before moving to this definition, let's go with the principle of measurement of inventories. Whatever is the inventory in the closing stock, it shall be measured at lower of cost and net realizable value. So in the balance sheet, you have to report your closing stock or the inventory at lower of cost and net realizable value. And it is usually the case that cost is lower and net realizable value is higher than that. But sometimes it's possible that the NRV might go down. So we need to understand what is the definition of cost of inventory and what is the definition of net realizable value. So as far as the net realizable value, NRV, is concerned, NRV is the estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business minus the estimated cost of completion if you need to complete it, and the estimated cost necessary to make the sale, that is the selling cost. So in order to find out the NRV, what you have to find out? You have to find out the selling price. For example, the selling price is 15,000 and the cost necessary to make such sale is suppose 1,000. It means if you sell that inventory, you will get 14,000, and this is called the net realizable value. What is fair value? As per the definition, fair value is the price that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability. Right now we are discussing in the context of inventory. So we'll take this definition. Fair value is the price that you would receive when you sell an asset in an orderly transactions between the market participants at the measurement date. This definition is from the IFRS 13 fair value measurement. So basically, fair value is the market price, but market price which you received in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date. Now, the most important thing is cost of inventory. The cost of inventories shall comprise all cost of purchase, cost of conversion, and other costs incurred in bringing the inventories to their present location and condition. Now, one by one, we'll see the items. What first is the cost of purchase. The cost of purchase of inventory comprises the purchase price, net of any trade discounts, import duties you have to add into it, other taxes, other than those subsequently recoverable by the entity. For example, sales tax, the value added tax. If it is recoverable, then you will not add into the purchase price. Transportation cost, handling cost, and other costs directly attributable to the acquisition of finished goods, material, and services. Trade discounts, rebates, and other similar items are deducted in determining the cost of the purchase. The cost of conversion of inventories include cost directly related to the units of production, such as direct labor. They also include a systematic allocation of fixed and variable overheads that are incurred in converting material into finished goods. As we know that the prime cost comprises of the direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, and production cost includes both direct costs as well as indirect costs. So we have three types of indirect costs normally, and these are collectively known as the overheads. And overheads includes the indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expense. Direct costs are those costs which can be directly identified with a specific cost unit, and indirect costs are those costs which cannot be directly identified with the specific cost unit, but it's a part of the manufacturing process, so you have to put this into the unit cost. Fixed production overheads are those indirect costs that remains relatively constant regardless of the volume of production, such as the rent of the building, depreciation, maintenance cost, insurance cost, etc., etc. While variable production overheads are those indirect costs which vary as per the production requirement, such as the indirect material and indirect labor. The other costs are included in the cost of inventory other than the purchase and conversion cost only to the extent that they are incurred in bringing the inventories to their present location and condition. For example, it may be appropriate to include non-production overheads or the cost of designing product for a specific customer in the cost of inventories. Sometimes it happens that we have to add the other cost in the cost of inventory. But there are few costs which cannot be part of the cost of inventory, such as these one, and these should be charged in profit and loss account. So these are costs which would be charged in profit and loss account. Number one, abnormal amount of wasted material, labor, any other production cost related to inventory. That is abnormal loss. The storage cost, unless those costs are necessary in the production process before a further production stage. So if you need to store before the next production phase, that means this storage cost is now part of the production cost. Otherwise, the storage cost is normally charged in profit and loss account. Similarly, the administrative overheads that do not contribute to bring inventory to present location and condition, and the selling cost. Now, there are two types of inventories normally. One is those items of inventories which are interchangeable, which can mix together, such as the inventory of oil, the inventory of milk. And there are those types of inventory which can be classified as the item that is not interchangeable, that is specifically identified. For example, the inventory of the car. So the cost of inventories of items that are not ordinarily interchangeable and goods and services produced and segregated for a specific project shall be assigned by using specific identification of their individual cost. So for example, you're trying to find out the value of closing stock, the cost of closing stock, and the inventory is not interchangeable, then you have to identify the item and you have to multiply by the relevant amount in order to get the value of the inventory. It's very easy. But sometimes it happens that the item concerns are interchangeable. For example, the inventory of oil. Now, in that case, a problem usually occurs that you don't know that what is the purchase price of the closing stock, because you have purchased those inventory at different time frame. So you need to assign cost. So what you have to do, you have to use the cost formulas. For such type of inventories, the cost formula should be used, which is either first in, first out, or weighted average cost formulas. An entity shall use the same cost formula for all inventories having a similar nature and use to the entities. But for those items which were different in nature or different cost formulas may be justified. It means if you have a different types of inventories, so for one type you can use FIFO, for other type you can use the average formula. What is first in, first out? It assumes that the item of inventory that were purchased or produced first are sold first, and consequently, the items remaining in inventory is the one that is being purchased recently or produced. For example, we have 100 units in stock, and our history says that the first purchase was 50 units at the rate of suppose 2 each. Then next purchase was 200 units at the rate of 2.5 each. Then we sold someone 150 units. So it means we have now 100 units. Now we have to value this 100 unit stock. So what would be the price? So first in, first out, assume that whatever is being sold, it's from the earlier purchases. So this 150 is from 50 units and then from the 200 units. So we have left with 100 units at the rate of 2.5 each. So that means the value of closing stock is 250. Under the average system, the cost of each item is determined from the weighted average of the cost of similar items at the beginning of the period and the cost of similar item purchased or produced during the period. So we have to calculate per unit cost as the value of opening stock plus the value of production or purchase and divided by opening stock units plus production units. And then we will apply this per unit cost into the stock units, closing stock units multiplied by the per unit cost. The average may be calculated on a periodic basis, that is in the case of a periodic inventory system, or as each additional shipment is received, that is the perpetual inventory system. Now, as I discussed that inventory is to be measured at lower of cost or NRV, so sometimes NRV might be lower than the cost. So in that case, we have to identify NRV and we have to write off this amount. So the cost of inventory may not be recoverable if those inventories are damaged. This is one of the reasons. Or if they have become wholly or partially obsolete, or if their selling price have declined. These are the reasons why NRV might be low. The cost of inventory may also not be recoverable if the estimated cost of completion or cost necessary to make sales have increased. Now, so for example, suppose my cost of inventory was 15,000 and when I calculated the NRV comes to be 13,000. So it means a write-off is needed of 2,000 against this inventory. And this write-off is to be charged in profit and loss account as an expense. So when inventories are sold, the carrying amount of those inventories shall be recognized as an expense in the period in which the related revenue is recognized in the form of the COGS. The amount of any write down of inventories to NRV and all losses of inventory shall be recognized as an expense in the period in which the write down or loss occurs. Sometimes it also happens that there is a reversal of any write down of inventory. So if there is any reversal, in that case, you have to increase the net realizable value and the reversal is to be recognized in the form of reduction in the expense, that is in the profit and loss account. But you cannot charge more than the availability of cost. So for example, you have recognized reversal, the loss against inventory. For example, the write down initially was of 100. So reversal maximum is of 100. You cannot increase your reversal from the write down value. Some disclosures are needed against the inventory. Few are: the financial statement shall disclose the accounting policies adopted in measuring inventories, including the cost formulas used, the carrying amount of inventories carried at fair value less cost to sell, that is the NRV, the amount of inventories recognized as an expense during the period, and the amount of any write down of inventories recognized as an expense. Similarly, the amount of any reversal of write down.